Brett Okamoto alongside Wonderboy Stephen Thompson, who fights on, I guess we're calling it the BMF card, UFC 291, but you are not a BMF.
I'm not, man. I'm not. I'm known as the NMF, which is
Yeah.
cool. I've got 2 belts. Whatever.
It's
Don't want to
good-
brag.
It's good to be different, man. A lot of BMFs on the card, but only one NMF.
That's right.
Yeah.
Only one NMF. So come at your boy if you want to fight for it. You know what I'm saying?
And so far, at least based on Embedded, you are enjoying the fight week, I think, more than anybody else, huh? Like you're diving in caves and shooting air guns and
It's
everything.
awesome.
It's just, has this always been the case, or have you, like, over the course of your career, you've just kind of learned how to enjoy fight week a little bit more and more?
Well, usually fight week is a little more stressful, so we got to here a little early to get acclimated, And while doing so, just to get our mind off of the fight and get out a little bit, we got to experience Salt Lake City and Utah, and got to do shoot some air guns and a little competition and swim in some natural springs, which is really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, over the course of time, you learn to kind of, what makes you feel comfortable during fight week. And at first it was just, and I still do this sometimes, lay in bed literally the entire time. Don't want to talk to
Really?
nobody. So as we get closer to fight day, I get more into that mindset,
I was going to ask, like thinking back, I think your UFC debut was Vegas, and then you went to Atlanta. And so, like, when you were going to these different cities, like, yeah, were you checking them out, or you were hiding in the room the whole time usually, or early on?
Well, by that point, because I've been competing kickboxing for many years before that. So I came into the MMA world fairly late in my career. I was like 28, 29, 30, around there. So I kind of had it kind of figured out a little bit, how I feel during fight week, what I can and can't do, what I feel comfortable with. But most of the time, I go out, man, and get got to get some vitamin D in, get some weather in, So it's been great here in Utah.
At this point in your career, are you looking, because just from the outside, I would be thinking there's probably kind of 2 ways of looking at it. You're looking at it like, dude, man, I've pretty much done everything. Like, this is amazing. Like, kind of just like cherry on the top type stuff. Like every experience is great. Or you're like, I got one last thing I got to do, and I got to win a UFC championship. It's kind of like 2 different schools of thought. Like, is that true? And like, which one are you?
Actually, it's a combination of both. I think I can have a little fun and still work my way towards the title, right? I know that people are like, he's fighting guys who are down in rank, but I got to remember I was there at one point, and there were guys that were higher ranked that gave me that opportunity, such as Jake Ellenberger and Johnny Henderson, Rory McDonald. They gave me that opportunity, and I want to give these guys the same opportunity. There's a lot of guys in the top who hold on to their ranking, I guess, and they pick and choose who they want to fight a little too much, but I want to give these guys a shot, just like these guys have given me a shot. So I think with the good win over Michel Pereira, hopefully I'll get a guy who's in the top 5 and try to go for that title again. It's always there.
Is it a different mindset when you're trying to take somebody's ranking as opposed to sort of kind of defending your own?
I don't. To be honest with you, I've never thought about it that way. I go into every fight kind of feeling the same, with the same mindset, which is, to win this fight, to go out there and beat this guy, right? And going into the fight, I guess every one of my fights is the same. It's like, it doesn't matter if I'm going for it or if I'm defending it. I got to win this fight. I got to go out there and beat this guy, and not just win, but do it in a respectful manner. So it brings honor and glory to my team and my coaches.
Mm-hmm. I think it's easy for us, maybe non-experts watching from the sidelines to say, man, that Michel Pereira, he's very unorthodox. He's different. When you watch him, I'm sure you're seeing some little things different, but is he that much different than anybody else? Is he like a very, very unique opponent, or are you able to kind of be like, no, I mean, I still know exactly what this guy's doing?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things that he does that I'm familiar with, but every now and then he will throw something just out of nowhere. It's a backflip or a run off the cage, and I think that can throw a lot of guys, off because they've never seen anything like that. Me coming from a karate background, I see all sorts of stuff. So on top of that, him, I think he's going to be a little bit smarter being in Utah, the higher elevation. He was kind of notorious for getting tired, but I think he's really prepared for this fight. So I think he may hold off a little bit. But still, I expect to see some acrobatics out there from just to throw me off, Mm-hmm. And I also expect him to, like I do everybody else, to try to get me down to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, maybe hit me up against the cage and try to go that route. Take a note out of Bilal and Gilbert Burns' book, you know. So, but that's something that I've always, you know, me and my wrestling coach, my jiu-jitsu coach, and pops have been preparing for.
Some of that crazy stuff he does that's good for like the highlight reel camera.
Yeah.
How dangerous is that though? Is he actually knocking anybody out with that kind of stuff? Like how much of a danger factor is it for you in this fight, do you think?
Always have to be ready. Everything that he's throw can be dangerous, especially the flying knees. I've seen him hurt dudes with it, stagger him, and then finish him with his hands. So if you're not careful, he will catch you. And I don't want to go into this fight thinking, he's not going to touch me with any of this stuff, because then I'll be less prepared. So for this fight, for every fight, I'm prepared for the hardest 3 5-minute round fights ever. And I always visualize my hand being raised. So anything he throws, you got to watch out for.
One thing that when I look at him, he just looks like a big, physically strong guy.
Yeah.
You know, but you're so technical that when these guys do come in, and maybe if he is like a strong physical guy, when he gets a hold of you, when you feel him in there, is that something that is that like a challenge at this point, or like are you just so technically sound that strength isn't really much of a factor in your fights anymore?
No, I mean, I feel like I haven't grown into my man strength yet. I don't know why.
It might never happen.
I know, man, I know. But there's been so many guys that I fought, and they felt physically strong. But on top of that, talking to them after the fight, they always say, man, you are so freaking strong, man. What's going, like, what are you doing? And I don't look it, right? So I know they're feeling my pressure too. So when I feel his and he's struggling really hard, it's because he's struggling against my strength, which means if he's struggling, I'm doing something. So I don't care in the grappling positions and in the clinch positions, which I think he feels like he's going to be stronger there. Us being technical with strength, I think will neutralize that.
When you say that the title's still there, the title's still in your mind, how far away do you feel from it right now?
Man, I'm ranked number 7. I mean, I just beat Kevin Holland, who's up and coming. He's fighting on the main card as well. I fight another in Michel Pereira, and then maybe fight somebody that's ranked above me. I think we're right there. I mean, Leon Edwards, I don't know if it's official yet, fights Colby Covington and wins. He's fought mostly grapplers in the top, right? Give him a striker.
Yep.
You know, give him somebody like myself, which I think will be an amazing fight, because I think he'll enjoy it, because that's his first love was striking, even though he's become a better, well-rounded fighter. I mean, you're talking to a guy who took down Kamaru Usman in the first round and held him down. Like, who's done that? Nobody.
Yep.
But I do feel like it would be an awesome fight, man.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think most people would. Another awesome fight, at least I think so, and I want to get your opinion on it, because, and I know that you're only focused on Michel for sure, but I interviewed Kamaru like about a month ago, you know, and he was like, I kind of like that Hamzat fight because that would be a fun fight. But Hamzat's at 185.
Yeah.
And then he also mentioned your name. He's like, that was
Sweet.
the one guy. That was the one guy I didn't fight when I was a champion.
Yeah.
What would you think about fighting Kamaru Usman?
I think that would be cool too. I mean, we've hung out a few times. He's such a good dude. I would like to step out there and go against him too. I mean, it's funny because anybody in the welterweight division, like, I don't mind fighting. If it's to try to better myself and to push myself to see what I got, let's go for it, man.
Yep.
So I think that would be a good one.
Yep. They're all good there at 170 pounds, and it's going to be a fun night on Saturday. And even though you're the NMF, you got a little BMF in you think? Do you feel like you got a little BMF in you?
I think so. I think so. You know, there's a little BMF, but, you know, when you're in there, you can kind of see that mindset change. You can see it in the eyes, right? But so the BMF is out there, but then you get little snippets of the NMF, like high-fiving dudes and helping them up. I think I have more high fives in the UFC than anybody else.
That's a good stat.
I think so. I think somebody needs to count that.
I don't know if someone's keeping track of that, but that is a fun stat. Well, it's a great main card, man. We're very much looking forward to the fight.
Thanks, man.
Best
I appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.